Silverstones. It is 6:50, 27 degrees, but we're headed south because it's supposed to be more like 50 degrees today. And I couldn't be more excited because we've got actual fishing poles in the car, not ice fishing rods. And we are going trout fishing today. Gonna go to some of my favorite childhood fishing grounds, actually. Maybe branch out from there. We'll see how the bite is. I'm quasi sick. A lot of time out in the cold yesterday, ice fishing. Maybe you'll see that video. It was pretty slow in the morning, but we did quasi hammer them for a couple hours during a snowstorm at the end of the day. Gonna make a quick stop here at Quick Trip, the usual. Of course, you can't have a fishing trip without a Quick Trip stop, but we're gonna pop in here, get some necessities, and we're gonna hit the road. All right, folks, we just made it to our first parking spot. The river is open. It looks a little low, but to be expected in the winter. You know, it's gonna be low, it's gonna be clear, unless you got a big melt off, but the snow was not much and it's already melted. Little bits. There's some low points that got snow. But anyway, the plan is not even gonna put my waders on to start. Just gonna throw on nothing. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna put a coat on. I'm gonna rig up my rod. I'm gonna go down to this hole below the bridge and I'm gonna try and prove that the fish are biting with it. All right, folks, let me walk you through what I'm gonna fish here today. And that is, to start, I got 10-pound mono. To be more specific, I'm fishing a 7-foot medium light St. Croix rod with a Fluger President. Great reel for the money, great rod for the money. It's a Triumph rod, you know, one of their cheaper series of rods, but still got a warranty, still a great product. And I'm gonna go ahead and fish a fluorocarbon leader. Now, if I had it, I would probably be fishing 8-pound fluorocarbon, but silly dilly forgot the 8-pound or anything, but thank God I had some in the car. The package is worn off, but I can tell just by feeling it, it's 12-pound. So a little heavy and a little strange that I've got a heavier leader than my main line, but you know, you got to roll with the punches, okay? It's what I got. It's better than nothing. And I'm gonna fish a Rapala to start, which is a pretty big bait in the trout world. And it's gonna be getting reaction bites. They're gonna come out and eat it. You know, it's comparable to fishing a streamer on your fly rod. So realistically, I could tie this right to my braid in most cases, and they're gonna come out and hit it. And later in the day, I will be fishing braid after it gets above freezing. Right now it's exactly 32 degrees, so I'm just gonna put the mono on. But for those of you that fish cold weather, you know that braid's an absolute nightmare when it's freezing. So we're gonna start with the fluorocarbon. And if you want, you know what, fine, I'll do it. I was gonna tie a surgeon's knot, but I'll go ahead and just put a uni knot in this. That's gonna be a much better connection. You're gonna be able to pull, get the full strength of the line. If you don't cinch up a double surgeon's knot perfectly and you don't have exactly same diameter line, it is going to be your weak point in a lot of cases. So I use the double surgeon's knot all the time for fly fishing. It's much faster, it's much easier, it makes much more sense when you got the right gear. But that is a knot that's binding both lines. If I use this uni knot, it's literally nothing more than wrapping the line around the other line and then pulling it tight. So it's just the fact that we can't pull one line knot through the other. It's not encouraging that line to break the same way as a double surgeon knot is. And it's very fast once you get good at it too. You want to wet it down before you cinch it. People will debate on how many wraps to do and how to do it, but like I said, you're literally just making knots that can't pull each other through each other. So I usually make sure I have 5 or 6 wraps, but depending on the line size, you can get away with less or you need more. You want to make sure it's cinched tight because it can work as a friction knot. So if you grab the other line, if you pull it tight before you have your knots close to each other, it will be working as a friction knot. And you don't want that. You want it to literally be working in a function that it can't pull the knot through the other knot. It's not really even a knot, it's just wraps. It's just wraps of line. I don't even want to know how many pieces of small fishing line I've inhaled. I tried to avoid it. I'll probably never give up on using my teeth to cut smaller diameter line, but if you can tell, I have literally got a concave shape to my front left tooth, which was actually broken to start. I won't go into that, but it has gotten bigger and bigger over the years from me biting the line in that same spot every time. Okay, so we've got our line on there. Now, normally I'll fish floating Rapalas, F11, F13. I know, sounds big for trout, but I'm hunting big trout, and a 6-inch brook trout will hit an F13 when he's squirrely, so don't get me started on that. But my beautiful girlfriend Dea, she got me a bunch of lures for my birthday, or maybe it was Christmas, I don't know, but I saw this sitting on the desk this morning, and this is a countdown, which is actually a more expensive Rapala, and you can basically count and it sinks as you go, and then you can reel it at the depth you want. But what a beautiful perch pattern. It's pretty small. I think this is a 9. It is a 9, but it's going to be a great lure. Now, if you have a floater, it's going to come without that ring on the end, that split ring. But if you have a countdown or another, like a husky jerk, it's going to have a ring. And normally I'll tie a loop knot to that metal loop on the end of my floating Rapalas. But if you have a split ring, you don't want to put a loop knot on there, because now you've got another joint. You got some more degrees of freedom than you need. What you want is to just tie a regular fisherman's knot, whatever knot you want, but tie it right to that split ring so that your knot is fixed, and the only swiveling and the only free movement is happening at that split ring. I just use a regular fisherman's knot. You know, people say this, that, or the other thing. What it really comes down to is taking the time to tie a good knot and cinch it down well. It should be sliding freely when you cinch it down. Okay, if there's any resistance or that knot catches further up, now you're friction burning your line. That's going to be your weak point. It's going to be a thinner diameter. It's going to be damaged material. That's where your line's going to break every time. So it should cinch down to about tight. Then you should be able to pull it as hard as you want, and that is not going to be the weak point. Your line is just as likely to break here as it is at that knot. You know, in theory. We're not going to get into the deep physics of it. If there's some scientists out there, maybe you already made a video on that. That'd be pretty sweet, actually. I'd love to see that video, but I am an engineer and am very experienced in trout fishing, and you need to get it cinched tight. If everything goes well, it's not going to break at that knot any easier than it is in the middle of that line. Or at least they're going to be real close. You know, they're going to be within a few percent of each other. And that's what you want. Okay, now let's take it one step further. Okay, this is going to be sacrilege to some people watching this. Okay, this is a brand new Rapala. Nothing wrong with it. The hooks are very sharp, sticking to my thumb, no problem. We're going to go ahead and pinch all the barbs on this lure. Every single one of them. We're going to pinch those flat. Well, why would we do something crazy like that with a $10 lure? Well, you don't have to. More power to you. It's not illegal to fish barbs in Wisconsin in the early season or any time of year. But if you fish for long enough and you really care about catching the 30 someday, which is my goal, you need those trout to survive, okay? And if you've ever seen a big trout lose an eyeball or his upper lips while fishing a Rapala or any treble hook bait with multiple treble hooks on it, eventually you're gonna see that if you're fishing them, especially if you've got barbs in there, basically because you have barbs in there. And it's usually gonna be fine. You're gonna land the fish, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna get them in the net. Oh, okay, we forgot our net today. Good point. But it doesn't have to be in the net, you know, in the net or when he gets next to you. The point is, when he's gonna lose his eyeball and his upper lip is when he starts doing gator rolls after you land him, okay? Or when he gets next to shore and he's gonna wrap up in the line, he's gonna get one hook stuck, is already in his mouth, and then the other one's gonna catch something like his friggin' eyeball or his upper lip, and they're very powerful things. He's gonna keep going, and next thing you know, he's a one-eyed trout, or he's a lipless trout, and he's gonna be super ugly when the next guy catches him the next time. I've caught hundreds of trout that were looking ugly as could be with their upper lips missing. Almost always due to fish and treble hooks with barbs in them. Okay, it will still happen even if you don't have barbs, but what will make it much safer for the fish is your hook's just gonna pull straight out of his eyeball, or it's gonna pull straight out of his upper lip without, you know, otherwise there's a barb in there. When you go to pull it out and now it's stuck in two parts of his body, you're gonna be ripping pieces off that poor trout, and hopefully you're gonna be feeling ashamed of it after you do it, okay? Not everybody feels that way for animals or for fish, but like I said, I do feel that way, and I am trying to catch 30 someday. So do I lose trout? Do I lose trout because I don't have barbs that come off during the fight? You bet your ass I do. Okay, but I do not care. I do not care if I lose the 30 next to shore because of a barbless hook, okay? The next guy might get him, but at least he's gonna be alive. Am I gonna talk about it for weeks? Am I gonna be heartbroken? You betcha, but it's for the greater good. What are we supposed to do? You got to do what you think is best. That's up to you. That's your decision. I'm not trying to preach at you. Do whatever you want. Fish barbs, don't fish barbs. I'm just telling you my experience, and I'm telling you that if you're gonna fish and you're gonna make a lifestyle out of this, you're gonna be ripping trout's eyeballs out if you don't cut your barbs on your treble hooks. Okay. I do this a lot when it's cold in the winter and I'm being a Sally. I point my rod to the front of the car, and then I do all my tying from there. But then you do have to be smart enough to be able to get it out of the car, so you don't want to have to drag your lure through it catching stuff. So I usually just whip it in the back, and then I'll collect it again when I get back there. Okay, let's hope this works out. Let's go get one right to start the day. Just want to take a quick peek, dude, see what it's looking like. Sure looks juicy, man. Look at that. It's literally it's a pristine look at it. I'm actually gonna take a picture of it with my good camera since I got it. I mean, you can't really make up a prettier driftless trout fishing hole there. Do you remember the first year we fished here and we had that giant one coming out after our streamers when we were first learning to streamer fish? Fucker was like a 2-footer coming out after us. And you know, we caught a bunch of nice ones. We never caught that big one, but this is where you caught your first biggie on the fly rod too, wasn't it? On the dungeon. Yep. A lot of nice ones came out of here. Had him hit the mouse in here. Had him hit the mouse in here while it's still light out. Oh fuck. No, I'm not good, dude. The ground looks soft, but it's actually frozen underneath a thin layer of mud, so it's frozen solid. Come on, baby, just one. We'll take a little guy. Gotta get the party started on hole 1 here. Oh, I just got hit, dude. I saw the trout too. Nice. I don't want to brag, dude, but it was like a 6-incher, bro. We're just laying here waiting for Trav to retie. Just got hammered in the money hole, but I missed it, so it must be up to Trav to land it. He's been picking out a lure for 45 minutes over there, so we're not sure what he's gonna go with. Probably come out here with a stonefly or something ridiculous. Beautiful looking spot here, all you see. Nice spillover, and it's really deep in there. I got hammered right at the tip of this log, but I was pretty deep down there, 3 feet below the surface when I got hit. I think it's pretty deep all back in this pool here, but there's a lot of wood in there, so you can't exactly just cast back into it. But if they're in there, usually you throw up into the head and they hammer it pretty quick when it gets back in here a little further back in the winter. I'm fishing really slow with this countdown. I'm not hitting the bottom, dude. Please, pretty please. You better get up there in the juice, dude. Gotta be something in here. Got a big one, dude. Trout, dude. I think it's a nice one, dude. I think it's a nice one. Oh, it's a nice one. Oh, it is a nice one, dude. Remember, there's no barbs, so I gotta get them over here. Awesome, dude. You wanna grab this pole for me? Awesome, dude. Look at that. Oh, beauty. We got barbless hooks here, so should be able to get them out pretty easy. Just gotta find them. It's not going that well. All right, I'm gonna have to just let him go. He can sit there. He's fine. Oh, as soon as I can see him. You wanna just set the pole down and get the good camera. It's already recording. You can just point it at us and then focus it on him when you get it there. You can just throw that down, it's fine. Oh, what a beauty. Thank you, God. All right, he ate it pretty good, but barbless hooks are just barely in there. Yeah, came right out of there. Just turn it around backwards. Got him right off there. Just a beauty, guys. Just an absolute beauty. Right at the head of the hole. Water's nice and cold. It's not fighting too hard. But he did give us a little something of a fight. All right, folks, we got a nice one there. Made the whole trip worth it right there, huh, Trav? Made it the 200-yard walk worth it. How far do you think that is, man? That's gotta be more than 200 yards. Oh, I was just taking pictures of this. Beautiful hole here. I was up there taking pictures, just a pristine driftless trout hole. And sure enough, there you go. One of the first few casts in there. Got a biggie. Well, there you have it, folks. Early season trout fishing, fished all day. We got one, but at least it was a nice one. A few other bites. That is the way it goes, but hey, definitely take it over nothing. Hopefully you guys are getting out there for the early season trout fishing. Hopefully you have a little better luck than we did when you get out there.